For so long, self-care was just a word to me, something that people recommended me to do, but I never fully understood what it actually means, until I found the practices that really helped me and changed my life for the better. Hello! Today I want to talk about my self-care practices, things that I do daily or regularly to feel less overwhelmed, to regulate my emotions, and to just feel more safe and secure in life. These practices might be very personalized, and those are things that help me. And my main thought is to inspire you to find your own self-care practices, because we are all individual, and so should be our self-care practices. I also want to put a disclaimer here. It is okay to not have a perfect routine or to not do your self-care every day. I do like routines a lot, and they give me stability and a feeling of safety, so I do most of my routines every day, just because this is what helps me best. If you saw my last video, you might know that I found most of my practices during a time of isolation, and I know this is not something everyone can just do or afford, but I can definitely recommend taking some time for yourself. And also, I was not on social media for, I guess, half a year, which can also be very beneficial for self-care or to just get in touch with yourself. You don't have to do that for a long amount of time, maybe a day, or you can set an app limit to reduce your social media consumption. The first practice I want to talk about is just documenting things that happen in my life, and I do that in a little journal, a little calendar. I do that since 2017, I guess, and I just always write down what I did, things that happened, just keywords, and then after some time I decorate it with pictures, washi tape, and stickers. And the second thing I use is an app. It's called Daylio, and you can use it to track your mood. So I have a section for the moon cycle, my own cycle, and then some activities, my EDS symptoms, and also dreams, because I have certain objects or places that are recurring in my dreams, and I like to document this. I can really recommend this app if you want to feel less lost about your life. I feel like this kind of gives me some structure. It also makes me a bit more mindful and just have an overview of my life and know what influences my mood. Next, I want to talk about my favorite self-care tool, and also like the most powerful one, and that is my audio journal. I already talked a bit about this in my last video, but if you haven't seen that, I just make memos. I'm not really talking to myself, I'm just talking and letting thoughts out, reflecting the day. And I started this because my therapy didn't really feel like a safe space anymore, and I just needed some kind of outlet for my thoughts and emotions. I always take notes of the audio to re-reflect, and also to just give myself space and validation, and it feels very good. I used to do it every day from the beginning of 2022 until July, I guess. Unfortunately, I do not have the time and energy to do that every day anymore, but every time I do it, it still feels so good and just so liberating. I actually thought about doing it for some time, but I felt so awkward, and it was a bit awkward at first, but it got easier with time. And also I noticed that just by talking it out, new realizations came in. I think it makes a difference if the thoughts are just in your head or if you let them out of your body, or out of your mind. And then with listening, like re-listening to the audio, you can look at your thoughts from this distance, and this really helps me to reflect more and also let go of thoughts. I also have a lot of issues with validation or rejection. So many times people I was friends with forgot my memos, or they didn't listen to all of it, or only replied to a few parts of it, and I always felt so invalidated. And doing my audio journal helped me to kind of let go of this pain of invalidation, because I was in control, giving myself the space and the attention that other people couldn't provide for me. And this is such a powerful thing, because this is what I mean when I say I learned that I can be in control of my life and also of myself and my emotions. And I just wish for everyone, especially people who are highly sensitive, to realize that and to find practices that help them achieve that. Through that practice, I got to know myself without external influences. I became a friend to myself, and learned to be 100% transparent and honest with myself. And this is such a valuable feeling, because I know I can trust myself and I show up for myself, because I listen to the audios again and take notes. It is so simple, but it has such a huge impact on my mental health. And just being in touch with myself felt so good. I felt like all of my layers overlapped in sync. And I kind of turned this into some shadow work practice to really focus on, am I kind to myself? Am I doing things out of love or out of fear? Am I acting accordingly to my goals and resolutions? But on some days, I would just talk about how yummy my food was, or analyze characters from a show I was watching, or just talk about how inspired I feel by music. So yeah, it's like this space you can fill up with things that you want to, and that's such a wonderful thing. Also, there's no judgment, like you are the only judge. And for me, especially as someone with rejection sensitive dysphoria, and being highly sensitive, always feeling everything very intensely, not being able to deal with rejection or judgment, this feels very secure. And just creating this safe space for myself was very important, and I'm so grateful that I was able to do that. My main advice about this self-care tool is that it can be helpful to be in touch with yourself, and to just reach a level of self-awareness where you understand yourself, and where you can be mindful, especially when you're often overwhelmed in life, as I am. And any kind of journaling, or just sitting down and just reflect in your head, if that helps you to stay in touch with yourself, can make such a huge difference. The next practice is yoga. I started doing that with YouTube videos by Mady Morrison. I think in November 2021. Yoga in general can be so beneficial for your mental health and your physical health. I'm always doing the same routine. This helps me because I might be autistic. I actually shouldn't do yoga anymore because of my chronic illness. I still do it and I focus more on the breathing. And I think this is also my favorite part of yoga, that I learned to breathe correctly or actively, and that I now know how to calm myself with my breath. And I also gained some muscles and felt like I had more control over my body. And just in general, it is very relaxing. Depending on what kind of yoga you do, there are also activating yoga forms, but for me, I like to do something that's a bit more calming. Talking about calmness, my next advice is to just in general be more mindful and to slow down. Especially after the burnout, I had this constant impulse to do something and I was always in a rush. And it helped me to realize that I do that my mind always tries to push me forward and to rush through things. And I always try to work with affirmations, to be I have enough time, to say that to myself in my head, and to actively slow down, especially when it comes to meal prepping and eating. I was always eating in a rush so I could continue working again, which is not healthy. And during the burnout recovery, in my isolation phase, I started to really take my time preparing lunch and also kind of experimenting with foods, kind of trying out new things, and then eating very slowly. I always listen to these positive affirmations by Alina Alive, and these affirmations helped me to enhance this slowing down process while I ate. And just a little, it's not really a practice, but more of an advice again, to just be more in the moment, be present in that activity that you are doing. Next, I want to talk about meditation. This is something that so many people always recommended me, and I tried, I guess, a few times, but I think I was scared to be alone with my thoughts. But during the burnout recovery, I tried guided meditations, also on YouTube. I think the channel is called Great Meditation. I tried these guided meditations sometimes after lunch, sometimes before falling asleep, just to calm down and relax. And then something interesting happened in summer 2022. I stumbled across this thing called the silva method. I cannot explain it in detail, but what I know is that to get in this meditation state, you count down from 100 to 1, and that's what I did, and it was incredible. My body felt like it was asleep, but my mind was very awake, and I was so amazed. I was like, whoa, I unlocked this new kind of meditation. And what I do sometimes when I'm in this state, I think and reflect actively because I have more brain power. Sometimes I just let my thoughts wander, and because I'm a very visually thinking person, this means I just see visions, not prophecies, but pictures of things I've never seen before, sometimes things I've seen before. This is very interesting and entertaining. I have this right before I fall asleep, sometimes too. It can also be a bit scary, but I don't know. I think it's also very interesting that happens. Sometimes I like to think that they are real visions, but they never really have a message. So But that's what I do, and sometimes I just practice silence in this state. Like I try to not think about anything, and what helps me to do that is to just in my head. Yeah. So I can really recommend that. I know a lot of people don't like meditation for the same reasons that I didn't like them before, but yeah, maybe this encouraged you to try it out again. Oh, and I forgot one thing. So as I said, I don't know that much about it yet, and I love to learn more about it, because I think there was this thing that you can use this meditation state, like this, I always call it silva mode, I don't know. It has some different kind of name, I don't know, theta phase or something, I don't remember. But in that phase you can manifest things, and I'm gonna talk more about manifestation in my spirituality video, but I think that's like really exciting. And this also leads to my next self-care practice, which is affirmation work. Affirmations can be very powerful. It's important that they are positive, because the mind can receive them better, or you can implement what you want to achieve more effectively. So I mentioned the 66 days rewiring challenge in my last video. I still do that, like I still write down the affirmations from moon omens, but I always add my own affirmation every full and new moon, and then I read out loud the affirmations before my yoga practice, and this helped me gain more confidence in my voice and kind of find my strong voice. I started to kind of experiment with my voice, and I learned to use its full capacity, and this feels so good because I can embody more confidence, and just helps me feel more secure in public. I think one of the most important things is that it helped me to validate myself. I'm so depending on auto-validation, which might stem from my neurodivergence or high sensitivity, and yeah, it really made a difference saying these things to myself out loud in this strong voice. This is basically magic, just by believing in yourself. And I know it can be awkward at first to say things like I am enough when you really don't feel enough, but I really wanted to feel enough, and I really wanted to love myself and to be healthy and to get better. So it kind of is, it's a process, and the more you practice, the more you believe in those things. So it's basically mind manipulation, so it can be dangerous. That's why it's important that the formulation is positive, and that you feel good and I don't mean like it's okay to feel awkward at first, but it should feel empowering after some time. I made the experience that I can manifest things, that my spells work, and that the universe is also responding with certain signs and omens, but I'm going to talk about all of that in a different video. Moving on to the next practice, and that is singing. I don't do this daily. I do this very intuitively. Sometimes after my affirmations, I like to sing foreign lyrics because I don't know the translation. So my mind doesn't translate the words or gives the words a meaning or a picture. So I can focus on the sounds solely, how they feel inside my body, how they feel coming out of my body. And this is such a nice experience to be mindful and to kind of switch off your head, as well as chanting or oming. I always say chanting. I don't know why. It's not a chant, or is it? But yeah, just oming, such an incredible experience when I first did it. Like my whole body was vibrating, and I closed my eyes and I felt like my body was lifted up and was like expanding and thick and golden, and it just felt so incredibly amazing. I'm always so surprised still that these simple things like just humming this one sound can make such a positive experience. I also wanted to add dancing to the list because it can help activate your body's energy, same as singing and oming, but it can also help release stagnant energy and let out emotions. I danced since I was 3 and I had to stop last year because of my chronic illness. I still do it at home sometimes when I have enough energy. I just do hand dancing when my body feels too heavy and I don't know, I really like this. It kind of makes me feel like I'm making some kind of spell. And lastly, I wanted to talk about that it makes a difference what kind of content you consume or surround yourself with. I guess I already talked about this in my positivity videos from 2019. I think the first step is to know what effect certain things have on you, and that's why it's important to be in touch with yourself, to figure out what works for you and what makes you feel nourished and empowered. You need some kind of self-awareness, and then it is very important to check if the things that surround you make you feel good. Especially when it comes to music, I listened to a lot of music that was giving my pain space, and I felt seen by that, but it also kept me in the pain and in my trauma and just in this negative energy. And right now I am mostly listening to spiritual music, sometimes cute lo-fi music, because I listen to music all the time. It's important to me that the music supports me, makes me feel secure. Listen to yourself, to your body, to your mind. And yeah, that's my most important advice for this video. I hope that I could inspire you with my practices, or maybe to just find your own practices, or to remind you to get back at your practices. Yes, I hope you take good care of yourself, because you deserve care and love, especially from yourself. And I hope to see you in the next video soon. Bye!